This is the websites.ca podcast, where we help Canadian small businesses build and maintain an effective website and online presence.
Everybody, Sean Corbett here, websites.ca marketing. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that basically nearly everyone seems to want, which is to get ranked higher on Google. But you don't want to listen to me, you want to listen to an expert. So today, we're going to be joined by Jacob Kettner. Jacob's the owner and founder of First Rank Search Engine Marketing, which is one of the largest SEO agencies in Winnipeg. He specializes in helping local businesses get found by their ideal prospects online. So Jacob, thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Sean. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, well, let's jump right in. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about your background and expertise, basically why people should listen to you about SEO?
Sure. It's probably the only thing people should listen to me about. But so I got into this industry about 9 years ago. I started off with an e-commerce website, and I was selling like backyard patio furniture and fire pit tables and stuff. And we were doing everything with paid advertising, and it was working. But I just saw that there was a huge opportunity for, getting free traffic from the search engines. And so I started getting a bit deeper into it, and we did some SEO for that business. And then, I started having friends reach out to me and, hey, can you help me with my local business? And the local business scene, which is kind of where we specialize now, was so undersaturated at the time, less competitive, easier to get faster results for cheaper, that were actually more meaningful, because people shopping e-commerce, they're shopping around looking for things. In local business, like if you need your furnace repaired, you're gonna call the first guy that shows up. So we put together, we threw together, or I threw together, it was just me at the time, agency site. We ranked for Winnipeg SEO in about 3 months. We've been top of the SERPs for that for going on 8 years now, and then it basically just kind of grew from there. So now our real specialty, like I mentioned, is local service-based businesses that are kind of targeting a local audience. Our firm now is 15 people, basically all kind of we focus a lot of our time on research and further developing and reverse engineering Google's patents and whatnot. So it's kept me in my nerdy area where I like to live. And so, we just keep developing new processes and figuring out better ways to do things.
That's great. Yeah. So you said you're mostly focused on the brick and mortar businesses. Small businesses, essentially. Right.
Primarily, we do work with some e-commerce and SaaS, but it's primarily the local businesses.
Perfect. So before we get into more specific questions, I think we should maybe just take a step back and ask you, really high level, how does search engine optimization actually work?
Great question. So very high level, everyone wants to overcomplicate it. It's about, we got to build links, we got to do all this stuff. Very simple concept. Google's objective is to make as much money as they can. They make money from people using their platform, right? Clicking on ads. But if nobody's using their platform, they don't make money. People use their platform because they provide the best search results. So our objective is to make client websites, or make your website the best website for a specific query. So if somebody, what is somebody actually looking for when they're searching something in Google, and how do we make the website the best answer for that, and how do we communicate that to Google? So Google primarily is looking at they're looking at what's on the website, what's the relevance of the content, are there specific pages for the specific services that a business might offer. And then they're looking off the website at how does the rest of the internet interact? Do people mention this business? Do they link out to them? Do they reference content that's on their site, or are people sharing their blog posts? So there's sort of that often referred to as off-page SEO element of what is the authority of the site off of the site. And then kind of the third main area is the technical. So that's largely page speed, mobile responsiveness, like looking at like how does the site actually function? Is it providing a good user experience for users? So you take those three things and you put them together, and you really provide the best experience, and Google will reward you for it.
Now, just to go back there to that the off-page SEO that you mentioned, would you include, say, socials, review sites, even forum mentions in that?
Yeah, I mean, really, any mentions as long as they're authentic. What it got popular many years ago, and not to go too far down a rabbit hole here, but in the early days of Google, a lot of software was developed that would auto post links on, so forum signature links and whatnot. And that stuff can actually hurt you more than it helps you. But definitely authentic mentions where people found value in something on the website and referenced it in a forum or on social, absolutely counts toward building that authority with Google.
Nice. So now getting into some specifics here, I know that Ryan and I get asked a lot of times, can we do XYZ thing with SEO, or can we help, or can we refer them to someone like you? I hope you could maybe cover some of the biggest misconceptions that a small local business often has about what either helps or hurts them on Google.
Sure. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually, I'm going to give you a couple of answers here. First is probably just too narrow of a focus. And this is something that we actually talked about just before we started recording. But basically saying, okay, the SEO is, I'm a lawyer in Winnipeg. SEO means ranking #1 for Winnipeg lawyer. And like, absolutely, that's part of SEO. But it's such a narrow focus. And really the focus for most businesses, the end goal isn't to rank at the top of Google. The end goal is to get more traffic, get more leads, and make more revenue and grow their business. And so to do that, kind of looking at more of a multi-channel approach is what are our options for getting in front of people when they're making that buying decision and when they're searching for a solution for their problem. And, looking at what are our options in each section of Google's page? What can we do in Google Ads? What can we do in Google Maps? What can we do, with the actual website? Is everyone looking for Winnipeg lawyer, or people looking to solve specific problems? Do they need somebody that can help them? Maybe a divorce lawyer, or maybe it's more specific than that. Maybe they need a custody lawyer for common law case, and people get real specific. So thinking, instead of myopically looking at what is, where do we rank for our main service, it's how can we build a strategy where we are providing value again in all areas of the search results, and also for different search intents. I said I had a couple of answers there. If I can run for a sec here. Yeah. That's probably the main one there. Loopholes would be #2. So that would be, and I've actually got a third one for you too. #2 is like trying to trick Google, because there's a lot of, and again, more popular in the past, but there's a lot of ways that you might get short-term gains for long-term pain. and it's SEO's really, it's not about tricking Google into ranking something that shouldn't rank. It's about building that presence and authority and offering that value and being what Google wants you to be. Because if you find the loophole, it might work for a while, but long-term, you're not in line with what Google really wants. And lastly, my #3 here, I kind of addressed in #1, but it's so many people I talk to, and this kind of goes into Google Ads, which is part of search engine marketing. Say we don't want to do Google Ads because nobody clicks on the ads. I have this conversation all the time. I scroll right past the ads. I don't click on them. And and the beauty, like we recommend anybody that's doing an SEO campaign to have an integrated Google Ads component to it. Because first of all, anybody that doesn't click on the ads doesn't cost you any money. So you're just getting a free exposure that they saw your ad, that you only pay if they click.
A little billboard at the top of the search, if you will.
Exactly. Which actually there's some studies that show that it can increase the number of people that will click on an organic listing below the ads if they see the ad. And that's just a huge thing. And again, this isn't about Google ads, but people will try it. They'll run a smart campaign and they'll spend a bunch of money and it won't work. And like it, again, completely different topic, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Google ads is a great platform in conjunction with the maps and organic section and everything else. So that's a few misconceptions.
Point. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, sometimes in the past, we've seen people actually muddle the two up, or maybe their provider was not being totally clear with them, right? And they were saying, well, you want more traffic? We can get you more traffic. And then we found out that they were just running generic Google ads. And same deal as you said before, right? Traffic, not leads, or traffic, not qualified leads. Right. So, and then they're going, okay, well, they don't even know that was Google ads. They just thought it was SEO. So now it's super confusing, right? And that's part of why we're trying to talk to guys like you, is to make it clear for the listeners of what's going on. And I really want to highlight two things, guys, that Jacob said there. As one of them was that if somebody's promising you amazing, perfect results with tricks and sneaky tactics, and it'll be really fast and all this kind of stuff, probably they're gaming the system. It's probably a red flag. And the second one that was really interesting, because I'm a copywriter and marketer for a long time by trade, and you were saying that the customer will tell you, I don't click on ads. And it's like, well, are you selling to yourself? Are you like the people, right, that you're trying to sell to? So I would suspect from what you said, and maybe you can correct me or confirm it, that if someone's going to work with a guy like yourself to get the best results, they better be out there talking to their best customers, not assuming what people are looking for online or thinking, right? But what words their actual customers are using when they're searching online.
Yeah. And even one step further, like setting up what's called conversion tracking on the website. So really, like, you can track, if somebody makes a phone call, that can be tracked. If somebody fills out a form, that can be tracked. It can be tracked back to how they came into the site and what they searched. So to look back, definitely talking to customers and getting feedback is a great way. But a lot of this data is available in tools like Google Analytics, or even in the Google Ads dashboard, if it's configured properly to give you that information.
Beautiful. So now let's pivot a bit, and just I wonder if you could offer our audience just a few easy wins that they could do to immediately see some improvement in their SEO.
Yeah, for sure. So the absolute easiest place to succeed in SEO without spending a bunch of time or money is in the Google Maps section. And the reason for that is that the algorithm in Google Maps is a little bit different than that in search, in that search is primarily based around relevance and authority. Maps is based around relevance, prominence, and location. So we could say prominence is similar to authority, but that third one is location. And so, a lot of people listening might have searched, a term that they wanted to see, they search Winnipeg lawyer from their office and say, hey, we show up in that 3-pack of the Maps results at the top of the search results page. Mm-hmm. And that's quite common. I mean, if you don't show up there from your office, there's probably a bit of an issue. And by doing a few fairly simple things in that Google My Business profile, you can expand that radius. So maybe you don't rank across the whole city, but if you can turn 2 blocks into 8 blocks, there's definitely some wins to be had there. So basically, like that profile, most people miss filling out a lot of aspects of it. So first, like step 1, claim it. Like a lot of businesses haven't claimed their Google profile yet. So if you don't have access to it, claim it. And then 2, fill out everything, upload pictures. There's 5 different categories of pictures: interior, exterior, owner pictures, like 360-degree pictures. You can add 360-degree pictures from your phone. You can download you don't need a 360 camera. You can download the Google Street View app and take like 16 pictures like around where you're standing, and you can upload it directly to your Google Maps listing. So that's something like a lot of people aren't doing. Just populating all of the possible fields, putting in the services that you provide, your hours of operation, everything in there. And then like the big one, the really big one is reviews. And right now, I have so many stats on reviews. There's the like we know that the majority of people, as over 90% of people search for local businesses online. Over 90% of people trust online reviews as much as personal referrals from friends. But there's also, I forget the exact percentage. I should have looked it up before, but there was an alarming number of percentage of people that have chosen not to do business with a business that they otherwise would have done business with based on online reviews. So that's kind of, it's an easy one. And it helps not only, like, yes, it's a ranking factor. It'll help you show up better in the maps, but also imagine that you're number one in the maps and you have a 4-star rating, and the number 2 and number 3 guy have a 4.8 star rating. Like, it's not helping you to be at the top if you don't have the best reviews too. So that's probably my biggest,
in conjunction, basically.
Yeah. And it helps, and if you're that third guy in the maps and you have better reviews and Google sees that more people are clicking on yours than the first and second guy, Google's going to adjust the rankings and put you at the top. So it all works together.
Nice. Good to keep in mind. I wonder if you could take us through maybe an example of a small business that had a particular problem and you guys were able to come in and help with it.
Yeah. So actually, I'm going to tell you about one of our first clients. It was an electrical company in Winnipeg here. They were a fairly small company when we started working with them. They had it was 2 partners and two apprentices, and they came in and they said, "Man, like we've tried everything. We've worked with like 3 different SEO companies, and there's like we're not getting results." And I came in and it's not actually funny, but the site had actually been, well, first of all, the site had been hacked. And nobody had noticed. So basically some hacker had injected like over 1,000 pages of content that was linking out to gambling and porn and pill sites. And so that was really hurting their relevance. And then, on top of that, they had, done some of the more loophole style SEO. So they had links coming into their website that were on, again, questionable sites. So we came in there, we had to, so first we cleaned up the hack. Then we had to go through like all of those 1,000 pages and request Google to stop indexing them, because Google will still show results even for pages that no longer exist. So we had to go through and make sure that Google understood that those pages were gone and were never supposed to be there. And then we started, there's a process where you can go into Google, it's called disavow, and you can basically say, please ignore these links that were built, because basically, sorry, I worked with a bad SEO provider and please forgive me. So we went through and did those. And that was really cool because it took about 3 months to get all this cleaned up. And after 3 months, we were on first page of Google. I think after about 6 months, we were the number 1 spot, where we've stayed for, again, pretty much since then. And it's been really cool to watch this business grow, because they, and I can't take all of the credit. They do commercial and industrial work that doesn't primarily come from search engine, but they're up to 75 employees now. And that was a cool growth. And partway through that, maybe about halfway between then and now, I actually had an opportunity to partner with the owners of that business on a solar venture. And we marketed via SEO primarily, and were able to scale that extremely quickly and do over 7 figures in revenue in our first year. So that was kind of a cool, I have lots of stories, but that's the one that stands out because it was one of my first clients, and it's turned into obviously a very good friend and business partner. But it was a cool process to watch over the past, watch and be a part of over the past 8 years.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, your results may vary, but that one's excellent results.
Yeah.
It's also funny because I think even when I asked the question, I was thinking someone starting from 0, let's say, and going to improve. I didn't think they'd be starting in the negative. So that's
yeah. And you know what? That's actually a good point. Starting from 0, and it's not, maybe not the point that you were making, but since you brought it up, starting from 0 isn't necessary. Like, SEO is not necessarily the first thing that businesses want to do from a marketing perspective. I'm not trying to downsell myself here, but it's doing the doing the Google My Business stuff, getting the reviews, like all that stuff, getting the pages structured properly. But SEO is a longer process. And in that example, that was years ago, it was results were 3-6 months. Sometimes in more competitive industries, if you're starting from zero, it can be 9 or 12 months before you're really starting to break even month over month on what you're putting into SEO, whether you're doing it internally or externally. There's going to be costs involved there. And so it's, it makes a lot of sense for a business that's kind of starting to, in growth mode and looking to take over some competitors and really be one of the number one players in the city. There's other places that I'd probably put my money with a brand new business where, even Google ads or Facebook ads, where you're going in and every dollar you spend, you're getting viewers immediately, versus this kind of long, build process. So it was just something I wanted to mention.
No, that makes sense. And then it also ties back into the point you said earlier, where once you're getting some good organic traffic, whether it's from, outbound calls, referrals, ads, then like you said, you can look at your stats and see what people are searching to get to you and get a little bit more accurate picture on what you want to target, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Well, and again, I know you said it was kind of an extraordinary result, and it happened a couple of years ago and stuff. But if someone were listening right now and they wanted to fix or improve their SEO, how would they go about working with you?
Yeah. So I think probably basically I'm going to call it a sales process because it is, but our sales process is a little bit different than I think most marketing companies or companies in the industry. We don't take on clients that we don't think should be doing SEO, but we do put in the time to evaluate that and figure out where the opportunities are in the strategy. So it may not be the sexiest offer, but like probably the most value that I can provide is to say, get in touch and go through. Like our sales process is basically, it's 3 calls. It's a 15-minute call where we're going to get some information. It's a 45-minute call where we're going to share some information and get some more information. And then the third call is basically where we'll present, what we found and, where the opportunities are and what we think the strategy is and whether or not we think we're a good fit. And so that, that includes basically an audit that if people come in, it's kind of, if people come in for one-time work and say, hey, we just need an audit, that audit would be probably $800. But if people come in and say, hey, we're interested in potentially working with you on SEO, that audit ends up being free along with, so there's, not that I'm encouraging people to waste our time, but if this is something that you're interested in, please reach out. We'll put the time in. And at the end of that third call, whether or not we end up working together, you'll walk away with a much better understanding of where the opportunities are to get better results. And, you can take that and do what you will with it.
Excellent. So step 1 is really to request that SEO audit of their site.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. And how, what would be the best way? Email, telephone, both?
Just Google us. No, just kidding. So yeah, our website is firstrank.ca. I assume there's a link somewhere around the podcast. But you're probably driving if you're listening to a podcast, so that might not help. Anyway, our phone number's on our website. There's always somebody here in the office. We're a local team. We don't offshore anything, so we'll pick up the phone and schedule something with you. Or if you're a millennial and more comfortable filling out online forms like I am, fill out the online form and then we'll call you.
Perfect. Yeah, no, there you go. I got lots of different options. So that's First Rank, all one word, firstrank.ca. And the phone number, if like you're saying, it's probably consuming this on the go. Phone number is 204-272-7265.
Yeah, which happens to be 272 rank.
That's awesome. I really appreciate you coming to talk to us today, Jacob. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Sean. Really appreciate it.
If you're not satisfied with your current website or the service you get from your provider, you can switch to websites.ca for free and get a great support team behind you. just visit business.websites.ca. That's BUSINESS.websites.ca, or email Ryan directly at ryan@websites.ca.
Thanks for listening, guys. Catch you next time.